Alright, next thing is we're going to look at this here winch and see what's going on. I've turned it on. You could hear the motor turning, but nothing's moving on the winch drum. So I'm going to take that shield off up there and see if I see anything obvious in there that's broke. If not, then we'll have to come up with something else. So pray that it's something really dumb, like a sheared, pin or a wood drift key or a broke. I'd even take a broke shaft, just as long as gears ain't tore up or something like that. So let's take a look at it. Alright, got the cover off here. Now I'm not seeing anything obvious other than there's no oil in here. I'm pretty certain that there's a plug right here. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be oil in the bottom of here, and I don't see any. So, but all this looks okay. This has got a keyed shaft on it, big shaft too, probably 1.5 inches, maybe 1.75 inches. What I'm going to do now is crank the truck up, put the PTO in gear, and we're going to attempt to turn the winch here, and if this doesn't spin, then we know it's something right here. Alright, so, and I'm guessing too, I'm looking at the bottom, so here's another plug at the bottom to drain the oil. So I imagine all these gaskets are probably dry rotting. Oh, the joys of being me, I tell you. So, alright, fire the truck up, see if it'll turn. Alright, let's leave it right here. Well, had a little bit of a oops. Yep. That's terrific. I think this hose blew out right here. Wow. That's all I got to say. Alright. We're looking at the hydraulic motor and everything that drives the winch up there on the crane, and I just wanted to point this out, before we get into anything real heavy. This is something that this didn't happen overnight, and it'd be obvious to everybody, but yeah, that set up a long time to do something like that. Cool thing about this setup is these people that built this crane, it's called, I finally figured out, it's a company out of St. Louis, Missouri. It's called Powers. The tag's right up yonder if you can see it. I'll take a better picture of it. But it was painted over. And they must have custom built this crane. Now, that being said, there's a lot of components on there that they just bought off the shelf. The winch up there is a Tulsa. A lot of the hydraulic motors, I think they're all, let's see. Okay, Toro motor. This is a Ross. Yeah, I think that's right. That's a if I'm not mistaken, that's a common brand. So the hydraulic motor that runs the turret and everything is probably the same thing. Now the cylinders, on the other hand, those are not off-the-shelf components. I don't know where in the world they found them things at, but yeah. So that's pretty different. Cool thing about this thing, this is what I wanted to show. It's got Timken roller bearings on both ends here. So this has got to come apart somewhere to get this bearing out. And beautiful worm gear. This was machined. I mean, look how deep that thing is. That's probably, let me back up a little bit so you can focus. That's probably every bit of 1/2 inch deep. So that's impressive. The cool thing is the gear that's in there is bronze. It's machined bronze. I'll get a better image of that. Here's a better look at that bronze gear. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. Isn't that beautiful? that isn't on the bottom, but the gear itself, that's probably why it's not all screwed up as bad as it is, being bronze. But that's incredible. I wasn't expecting anything like that to be coming out of this gearbox. So there is some really, really good components here. So pretty neat. This is what we're dealing with. We getting flooded. Hey guys, welcome back from Classic Work. It's been a long overdue video and I do apologize, but just show y'all a little bit what's been going on. Hope everybody's been doing alright with this coronavirus and all the BS that's been coming with it. But anyways, you know, we're still working hard. I've worked harder in the last really 3 weeks than I have in a long time, so still hard at it. But anyways, guys, I also want to apologize for I didn't film a lot of this. If you notice, the truck looks a lot different than the last time y'all saw it. So we'll just kind of go through it and kind of show you some stuff that's been going on. So we'll start over here on the driver's side. Y'all may not have seen, I can't remember if I even started on this settling cabinet. I've got it mocked in now. I'm still going to put sides on it and a door and all that kind of good stuff. And can put 3 balls in here. I tried my best to try to get 4 in here, but it was going to be too tight, so I settled for 3. And I'm going to upgrade this oxygen to a 200 cylinder, so that'll be good. And then I was either going to put another oxygen here or possibly a shielding gas to run a wire feeder eventually. So got some options there. But we've also mounted some underboxes. I've got one on this side, and I'll show y'all the ones on the other side as well. But this is just a standard, I think it's an 18 by 17. These are better built, even though it says Northern on the bottom there. So far, I've been real happy with the boxes. They keep the dust out and they keep the water out. So, I mean, it's as clean as the day I put it in there. And they've been on the truck for a good solid month and a half now, probably. Of course, my Montezuma toolbox, if y'all are a fan of the show. Y'all remember this was on my 550 on the back. I've got it mounted on here and got it all decked out, and I'm sure everybody's wanting to know about this thing. This is a job site cabinet. You know, you see the toolboxes, you know, that's got the lift tops on them and stuff like that, but they actually make a cabinet. And this dude right here is pretty slick. But anyhow, so just a little look at it real quick. I've never seen anybody mount one of these on a truck. There's probably a good reason for it. But the dimensions on it, it's 30 inches deep, it's 5 foot tall and 5 foot wide. So even though I'm tall, I can't even barely reach the top shelf. So I've got a ladder that I bought that makes that a little bit easier, and you can grab a hold of the door or something like that if you want to get up high. But it works pretty slick, and you got a pretty good angle of everything. I'm still in temporary mode for the most part on this truck. You know, these chains and binders and stuff, that's not where they're going to go. I'm going to make me another dead man like I did over here that holds all my grinding rocks and everything, and I'm going to put another one on that door, and these are going to go somewhere else. So I've been real happy with it. The box has been on the truck now for about 2 months, and I've run it almost every day. I hadn't had any problems with it being too top heavy or trying to lift off or fall off or anything like that. There's some good bolts holding it down. So yeah, it's looking pretty slick. Of course, on the back, if y'all remember last time, the plate and everything was on here, but I didn't have the vices mounted. This one right here, I just mounted a 2-inch receiver. Did the old receiver style, and the bad part about it is it shakes. So what you can do, as I haven't done it completely yet, is I got 2 holes here. I'm gonna weld 2 bolts, and I'll have 2 nuts on here, excuse me, and have 2 bolts that push against this tube, and that'll lock it down good and snug so it won't do that. And that vise over there is my old Rock Island that came off of my my 550. That's been a real good vise, so I'm gonna keep it. And this one right here is pretty new. This is a Wilton bullet vise. I picked this off of eBay several years ago. There's a dove out yonder. But anyways, I picked it up several years ago and wanted to put it on my next service truck, so here it is. I finally got my hitch all reinforced and built up and everything, and I painted it, you know, all the marker lights and working lights. I don't know if I talked about this in my, no, I know I didn't, in my last video. I had a devil of a time wiring this truck for tail lights. I tried everything. Man, I had diodes out trying to figure out where to isolate, and apparently on this year model of a truck they didn't have you know, they didn't have 3-wire systems back then, and you can't run a tail light, a blinker, and a brake light all in the same circuit. It just won't work. There's like too many grounds or not enough or something. But anyways, I fixed that. I got permanent tail lights and blinkers, and I got permanent brake lights, so that worked out good. So if you ever have that problem, just do yourself a favor and get you another set of lights. Over here is on my other box. This one here is smaller. I keep all my chains and binders and stuff in it. I would show it to you, but I believe that box is locked. And it catches the most trash from this back wheel right here, and it, just like the other box over there, it still dry as a bone. So that's looking good. I got my air compressor off the 550 on here, the old Sanborn. It's a funny story about that old compressor. It's wore out 3 service trucks and still kicking. So it's been a tough one. I recently put this air manifold on here. I actually did that today. I got me a new gauge on there. As long as I can remember, there's never been a gauge on this compressor, or it was one, but it was broke. I've got a Hoosier pole that's mounted. Like I said, I'm still in temporary mode, so I'm gonna be taking a lot of this stuff off. I gotta, you can see it's hitting my cage right here. I gotta shorten it up and get it to work a little bit better. Then we come to the lead rack here. I've been super pleased with this. These are all Cox reels, every one of them. Got, you know, your positive and your negative, and 100 foot of extension cord, 100 foot of settling hose, and I've only got 50 foot of air, but I may be fixing that here in a little bit. But I got all mostly brand new stuff on it, so I've been real pleased with that. Then my SA250. Y'all remember it on the truck at one time. I had a bad go with this old welder. Apparently I didn't read the sticker too good. If y'all remember, I had it on the back of the truck and I didn't have it bolted down, and you guessed it, I went around a curve and that son of a gun slung it right off the side. It bent the radiator shroud and busted the hood all up, and I couldn't look at it for probably a month. I was just, I mean, you know, just idiot. You know what the hell are you thinking the whole time? And it was like in slow motion. I actually watched it. It's amazing that I didn't hit a car or something. But yeah, so that was heartbreaking for a little while, and finally I just manned up and started taking it apart and see what was going to happen. I fixed the hood. You can still see it's got a few creases in it, but I fixed the hood the best I could, and I fixed the radiator shroud, and I got it back together, and I cranked it up, and it sounded okay. It's still generating power, still welded. You know, it bent the frame on it pretty good. I don't know if you can see it any. You can see it real good on this side. Maybe you can't. But you know, it was a pretty bad wreck. I mean, it fell that far. That's about, I don't know, 40 inches from the ground. So maybe 35. But yeah, she just slid right off. But anyways, I got it all back together, and I've put almost 100 hours on this machine now, and I've got a leak on the rear main seal. I'm sure the wreck had something to do with that. It's not terrible. I don't even think it's leaked an ounce of oil, but it is leaking. So yeah, I've had to do something about that eventually. But other than that, it's been doing real well. And then this underbox here. This box is perfect, almost depth-wise, to put a full set of rods in there. You know, you can see there's not much gap in between. It'll still hold all your rod holders and everything. And I've been pleased with it. It's a real good setup being up under there like that. So I've been pleased. The truck too got a nice little upgrade. I got me a 4-inch chrome stack, which ain't nothing like, you know, like trying to polish a turd, you know, the old bad paint job and everything like that. But I tell you, I omitted the muffler on here, and you talk about orgasm for your ears. That I didn't think that little 6-cylinder had enough exhaust to make that thing sound that good. You know, the DTs sound great in tractors, you know, with just a little short pipe on them, but I didn't think all that tube would make it sound as good as it does. I'll fire it up for y'all here in a second and let y'all hear it. But other than that, it's coming along pretty smooth. I've worked out a lot of stuff on the crane. Repacked the cylinder on the boom, and I fixed the winch. Finally got that fixed. That was an ordeal. And repacked the cylinder on the outrigger and everything. And I'm finding more leaks the more I'm running it, which is good. We'll sort out the weak stuff and figure out what we can on the bigger stuff. The crane is super strong. I finally found out where this company, there's a sticker up there that's was covered in paint. It's called Powers. This crane was made in, let's see, McCabe Powers Body Company in St. Louis, Missouri. So we finally figured out on this truck. The truck's a 90 model. The bed is much older. I had a friend of mine was looking at it, and he looked at this marker light right here, and he said they haven't put that on anything in a very long time, years, like 70s. And he said that bed's got to be much older than the truck. So we finally figured that out. So well built. It's been an ordeal getting it all going, but it's almost right as far as, you know, being a everyday runner. I've still got a long way to go. I eventually want to build a rack here in the back, kind of like one of the pack rat deals. That I can have a drawer that I can pull out because I want to bolt bin more or less. And I'm going to build a rack on the back of the cabinet here, you know, real thin rack, something, you know, 6-8 inches deep, to hold all my rigging chains and all my slings and whatnot, and put these leads up somewhere too. But other than that, I still got to mount my, you know, my cooler, and I may put a generator on this truck. I ain't figured that out yet or not. The welder seems to do pretty good, but if I do need a lot of electricity, I want to keep hours off that machine. So I still got to hang lights everywhere and do a few other little odds and ends stuff, and then eventually paint the truck. I got to do the interior next too, and get the air conditioner working in it, and radio and all that jazz. But it is definitely coming on really, really well. So let me fire this bad boy up for y'all. fuel filters are stopped up. Anyways, guys, that's probably gonna wrap it up. I do apologize for not filming everything that I did to the truck and everything. I was in a point in my life that I thought my YouTube career was over, pretty much. You know, all the work that's been going on, we've had one of the shittiest years that I've ever seen. It hadn't been just the coronavirus that's, you know, and it's killed a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff that's been going on. This is the wettest year I've ever seen. We literally got 26 inches of rain in a span of 3 weeks. We got flooded down at the shop, and oh man, we thought we were going to lose everything. Very, very fortunate we didn't. God was looking after us on that one. But we ran into some huge problems. We faced them and hit them hard. You know, we had a tornado come through here not too long ago and screwed up a lot of stuff around here. Luckily we didn't get hit, but some other folks wasn't as fortunate. So, you know, trying to look out for the fellow man and everything like that. And hopefully we'll stay together and get through all this mess that we're going through together. Well, anyways, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. Until next time, I'll keep y'all a little better updated than I've been doing. So here we go. We'll do it again. I'll see y'all next time. Y'all take care and God bless.